Foxboro doesn't have time for nostalgia. Right now, it's cold decisions with a hot heartbeat. One move hits the cap and still leaves a real void on the field. One market rumor sounds like a luxury until it becomes a need in 2 snaps. And one quiet choice is going to tell us whether the Patriot way in 2026 is all-in aggression or surgical patience. In Gillette, every detail collects interest. I'm not going to lay all 4 cards on the table up front because they connect. There's a through line here that a lot of people are missing, and I'll cash it out at the end. But first, drop a thought in the comments early. Are you building this thing around trench stability or around explosive playmaking? Cutting Antonio Gibson right now isn't just another name leaving. It's the first real offseason statement from Mike Vrabel to the locker room and to the rest of the league. New England clears about $3.1 million in 2026 cap space, while eating $1 million in dead money, and the football impact shows up in the place we all felt after Week 5, the hidden yards that decide tight games. Here's what happened. Gibson was released after 2 productive seasons. He was coming off a nasty ACL tear suffered on a kick return in that Week 5 win over Buffalo, went to IR, and from that moment on, the return game became a weekly shuffle. And that matters, because Gibson wasn't just a backup runner, he was a stabilizer. In 22 games with New England, he logged 145 carries for 644 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he delivered one of the signature moments of the early Vrabel era. That 90-yard kick return touchdown against Miami in Week 2, with Vrabel sprinting down the sideline like he was trying to block somebody himself. Now the backfield at the top is fine. Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson are still your front pairing, and that duo isn't going anywhere. The fog starts behind them. Terrell Jennings and Lan Larison are young and intriguing, but both lost time to injuries. Larison was on season-ending IR since the summer, and Jennings missed the end of the year with a hamstring issue and a lingering concussion. Elijah Mitchell is also in the picture for 2026 on a futures contract. So yeah, the offense can survive without Gibson taking carries. The Patriots proved they could function without him in 2025. But special teams? Special teams doesn't forgive. If your return game keeps putting you behind the chains before the offense even touches the ball, your starting drive's already losing field position. Think about that for a second. You can have a great plan, a great quarterback, and still bleed points because the boring phase of the game keeps flipping the field against you. So here's the choice that's going to split the fan base. Do you want a steady veteran to handle returns and third down duties? Or do you want to save money and draft speed out of the combine to build that role on the cheap? Vote it out in the comments. Veteran or rookie? Because there are 2 clean paths. If the front office goes rookie hunting, the types being mentioned as guys to watch in Indianapolis are players with that quick feet, space game skill set. Names like Roman Hemby, Robert Henry Jr., and Jam Miller. You get cost control and fresh legs, but you're also asking a rookie to be dependable in the most mistake-sensitive job on the roster. If they go veteran, you buy stability right away, but you pay more and potentially steal development snaps from younger backs. And that's why the Gibson move isn't just about the backfield. It's about who protects the hidden field position, which ties directly into the next anxiety point creeping around this roster. There's a kind of noise that only exists when your season ends one step short of a ring. It's not panic. It's that restless feeling of, what piece was missing? The combine is where that noise turns into whispers. Agents working phones, executives doing math, everyone trying to guess what Vrabel really believes when he looks at the left side of the offensive line. Because saying, "I trust my rookie," in public is one thing. Watching the tape, seeing your quarterback under siege at the worst possible time, and feeling the window speed up? That's different. Here's the thing. The talk around Will Campbell is back, and it's not subtle. Campbell, the number 4 pick last year, had real struggles late, especially during the Super Bowl against Seattle's edge rushers. Vrabel has been emphatic that Campbell is staying at left tackle, but there's also chatter being floated that New England could be in the market for Packers left tackle Rasheed Walker when free agency opens. Nothing is confirmed yet, just buzz in the air. Why does it matter? Because tackle isn't a position where you can hope it works out. If you enter 2026 with uncertainty on the blind side, you change the whole offensive plan. You start protecting the protection. You call plays thinking about pressure instead of attacking space, and you do not want Drake May playing with that kind of hesitation. At the same time, there's context that matters for Campbell. He had a knee injury in Week 12 and likely pushed to get back on the field. He didn't look the same after that, and yes, the competition got tougher too. So the question becomes, was he overwhelmed? Was he limited? Or was it a messy combination of both? That's not a small distinction when you're judging a rookie left tackle. Now let's talk about the fork in the road, because it's real. Do you spend big money on a player like Walker to create competition, or even reshuffle Campbell to a different spot? Or do you stick with your premium investment, bet on development and health, and spend that money elsewhere? If you were the GM today, what's your move? Sign Walker and change the board, or stay with Campbell and build around him? There are two scenarios. Scenario 1. You go hard for Walker and the cost is serious. The market projections being thrown around are hefty, and with multiple teams desperate for competent left tackles, it could climb. You'd be paying for optionality, competition, insurance, maybe even a path to moving Campbell. Scenario 2. You resist the temptation, keep faith in the rookie, and use your cap space to raise the ceiling in places that actually swing playoff games. Because paying top dollar for a fine tackle can turn into trading anxiety for regret. And either way, this only works if the defense can get home without begging the blitz package to do all the work. Which brings us to the edge decision that's going to test how Vrabel wants to build this thing. A lot of people assume once you reach the Super Bowl, your defense is basically set and you're just polishing. But when you really watch New England's tape, the truth is a little uncomfortable. There were stretches where this team needed interior pressure and extra rushers to survive, because the edge rush wasn't consistently winning one-on-one. That's why this offseason call is dangerous. It mixes merit, price, and upside. The situation is this. K'Lavon Chaisson is heading toward free agency as one of the most fascinating names on the roster. He had a breakout year in New England, 7.5 sacks, and 11.5% pass rush win rate. And then he showed up again in the playoffs with 3 more sacks, 2 of them in the wild card game against LA. That's January production. That's the kind of stuff that gets you paid. But here's the tension. His earlier seasons didn't look like this. So the league is going to price him like this is the new normal, and the Patriots have to decide if they're buying the player or buying the spike. The impact is straightforward. If you pay Chaisson, you raise the floor. You keep a piece who knows the system and just proved he can win on big stages. But even with that, the Patriots ranked 22nd in sacks during the regular season, and a lot of their best pressure in the playoffs came from inside or via blitzes. Harold Landry faded late, Anthony Jennings doesn't scare anyone as a pure rusher, and Elijah Ponder is promising but not ready to carry full-time snaps. So yes, keeping Chaisson can be necessary. It's also not the whole answer. So let me ask it in the way that matters. Does paying Chaisson excite you, or does it worry you? Because the fight is obvious. Do you commit something like $10 to $18 million per year to secure what you just saw? Or do you use that money chasing an edge player with a higher ceiling and accept the risk of letting the right guy walk? Jump in the comments. Are you paying for the floor or gambling for the ceiling? And then there's the draft angle being floated. In one recent mock, New England takes Oklahoma edge rusher R. Mason Thomas around pick 31. The profile is spicy. 15.5 sacks over 2 seasons, a 20.3% pressure rate on 191 pass rush snaps, forced fumbles, real disruption. But he also missed time after a quad injury, and that boom or bust label is earned. He could become a nightmare for tackles, or a headache for your own staff if the health and consistency don't line up. Be honest, if you're chasing another Super Bowl run, how much volatility are you willing to tolerate at edge? Because while everyone debates tackles and pass rush, there's one more temptation sitting out there. If it hits, it changes how defenses have to play you. And if it doesn't, it still tells you what kind of team New England wants to be. If this happens the way people are whispering, Drake May could walk into 2026 with a target that warps the field without you needing to scheme it open. But I'm going to say it plainly. Handle this one carefully. It's a market rumor. It's talk. Nothing is confirmed yet. The name is Mike Evans. The idea being floated is that Evans is weighing his next move with an eye on the offense, the quarterback, and his best shot at another Super Bowl, and the Patriots have been mentioned as one of the teams in the mix. Evans turns 33 in August, and his 2025 season was short. 8 games, 30 catches, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns. That ended his ridiculous streak of 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons, which tells you 2 things at the same time: the standard he set and how much the injuries mattered. Now, when Evans is healthy, you know what he brings: size, body control, red zone dominance, a real deep ball threat who changes safety depth and forces corners to play honest. That's not theory, that's just what he is. The impact for New England is obvious. This offense needs more punch on the outside, especially if there's a path where Stefon Diggs isn't here. Even with Diggs, the Patriots can't live on perfection. Evans would give May margin. 3rd and long becomes less of a prayer. The red zone gets simpler. Play action gets teeth. But the clock is real. Age and health aren't footnotes, they're the hidden cost. So here's the debate, and I want real answers. Is wide receiver the biggest urgency right now? Or is it tackle protection? Or is it edge rush to close games? What's the top priority for you? Because there are 2 ways to play the Evans idea. If the price is a real opportunity deal, shorter term, incentives, flexibility, you take the swing and still keep room to build out the roster. If the market inflates and the commitment becomes heavy, you could be looking at a pricey, older receiver while still staring at holes in the exact places that decide January football. And there's always the alternate path. Treat the rumor as a reminder of what you need, attack the draft for the next vertical threat, and keep the roster balanced. Now let me bring this home, because these 4 stories aren't 4 separate stories. It's one story told from 4 angles: hidden field position, blindside protection, pass rush, and explosive perimeter playmaking. Moving on from Gibson is a signal that New England wants efficiency and control of the details. The Walker chatter highlights how fragile one weakness at left tackle can become when the lights get bright. The Chason decision exposes whether Vrabel wants a high floor or a high ceiling on the edge. And the Evans rumor is the final temptation to accelerate everything around Drake May. And here's the promise I told you I'd pay off. When a team reaches the Super Bowl, it doesn't need to change everything. It needs to choose the one area it absolutely cannot fail at. That's the difference between getting back and getting stuck. So I'll ask you one last time. If you could lock in one thing for 2026, what are you choosing? And why? Drop it in the comments, hit the like button, and subscribe if you ride with the Patriots.